I'd like to share a little bit about who I am and how I got into helping people with IBS. When I was in my teens and 20s, I had IBS, and I remember going to the doctor and being amazed at how little he knew about how to help me. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that someone I looked up to, someone who was supposed to be so smart, knew absolutely nothing about my problem or what to do about it. And that was very difficult to process when I think back. It was depressing, and it made me question if it was just me and if I was even supposed to be any healthier. But I'm very stubborn. That's something you should know about me. And somehow I thought that if I went to medical school, I would figure out what other doctors hadn't been able to figure out. Turns out I wasn't so bright. Your brilliant doctor doesn't know how to help you because solving IBS isn't taught in medical school. In hindsight, I guess that makes sense. But I was still stubborn, of course, so that part hadn't changed. After I was done with school, I kept searching for answers because it seemed to me that there must be an answer. And eventually, being persistent enough, I started to find answers. It was primarily by doing things that I wasn't taught in school, of course, and from listening to my patients. Patients can be incredibly helpful and incredibly insightful. The answers turned out to be in the places I had been told not to go. The places I was told were not legitimate medicine or even good science. Things like food reactions and leaky gut and dysbiosis and on and on and on. You could see all that on my website. But as I dug deeper, I learned that this issue, this problem of not solving IBS, wasn't about science at all. It was about money. I discovered that the medical system is just like all other massive industries and big businesses. The biggest companies with the most money win, right? They do what they want to do. They tell you whatever serves their interest, and they mostly answer to their shareholders. And in the medical industry, these companies are primarily the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies. And they have won the marketing and lobbying battles that tell you what you're going to get and when it comes, of course, to healthcare. But these companies don't stop there. They also try to block and even discredit their competition, the little people trying to change the system. And keep in mind that the pharmaceutical companies are also behind most research and have a massive influence on the medical schools. And of course, that research is going to lead to their financial benefit. If it doesn't, then they don't do it, or they don't care what the results are, right? So, and what about your brilliant doctors, right? Everybody's met doctors that they really care about and like, no matter how smart they are or how caring they are or what their motivation was for becoming a doctor. They only know what they've been taught by those industries. They're not given incentives to go beyond that or to improve the standard of care unless it leads to money for the big players. And they're not in control. CEOs are in control, and optimizing your health is not the big money maker at the top of their priority system. And all of that is why your brilliant doctor doesn't know anything about the things that we all know are fundamental to health, right? Like diet and nutrition and vitamins and minerals and herbal medicines and supplements. And yet we continue to put our faith in them, even though we are dumbfounded when our doctors don't know a damn thing about any of that stuff. So I was fed up with all that, as you can imagine. Maybe you are too. So I did something really stupid, at least from a business standpoint. I created a place where the expectation is to cure IBS. And that's dumb because our patients usually get better. And that's dumb because we always have to get new patients. Successful businesses are built on recurring revenue, like drugs that you can never get off of. Not one and done propositions where people get totally better, and a majority of them do, right? I couldn't live with myself, though, if I did it any other way. It's just in my nature. And one time, I even had a teacher in medical school shame me in front of my classmates for this character trait, just because I wanted the truth. It's something that probably wouldn't go over well in this day and age, and I regret that I put up with it back then, right? It still bugs me when I think about it. My primary goal is to help people optimize their health. And that's from this point forward in their life. And the body is incredibly capable of doing this if we give it the right support and get out of its way. if we ever get serious about proving the quality of care and not just the quantity of care or the cost of care, things are going to be very different in our healthcare system. But that's a topic for another time. I would love to lead that charge, but for now, I'll just keep to helping people in my own small way with IBS. Anyway, learning all of that eventually led me to create the IBS Treatment Center to help people with IBS and to prove that IBS is curable, something that, believe it or not, I've been told by Google and other authorities that I can't even say. But I say it anyway because it's true. And what else do I do when I'm not talking about poop, right? Well, I love nature and I love to be outdoors and I love to bike and run and ski and hike and backpack and fish and do yoga, though I got to be honest, I don't do as much yoga as I should. Probably should go do some yoga today. I love traveling and bird watching. Actually, I'm really into birds, and I always love a good house project like building a deck or something. Although I have to admit that got a little old during COVID. I had a little too much time for that. I actually painted the entire exterior of my house. I was so bored. And I'm the kind of guy, I change my own oil in my car, but I'm really into soccer and the Seattle Sounders. And most of all, I like spending time with my family and doing all of those things that I mentioned and watching them do the things that they love to do too. And really, I love to learn ultimately, which is probably my favorite hobby. Well, that's enough about me. If your goal is to solve IBS, then you could probably do that. I've seen it happen thousands of times, so I know it's possible. And over 20 years ago, I experienced it myself in my own health. But if your goal is just to manage your IBS or to treat the symptoms, then that's probably the best you're going to get. So you have a choice. You can either live with IBS or you can remove the BS from IBS. And the ball really is in your court, but I hope that you'll let us prove it to you. Thanks for listening and have a great day.